Okay, so she storms off. And I am like, I don't know what to do because I've never been in a situation like this. I have never been in a situation like this. So I called a few different people to find out what do you do in this kind of situation. And the most sound advice I got at that time from a couple different people said the same thing. They said just fucking go back into that RV and just make yourself at home. Sit down on the couch, bring your bags in, put them on the floor, and sit down on the couch and just let her know you're not going anywhere. You know, your rent's fucking paid. By law, you can stay there. And these people knew that I did everything for this chick. Like, she's pathetic. Like I was way out of her league was the whole situation. I was way out of her league. Like, she's just like a loser. And I gave her the benefit of the doubt. And, you know, this happens in life. So the most sound advice I got was don't let her drive you out. That's your fucking place. And just let her know that you're not going to make it uncomfortable for her, you know, and then she'll leave. Hopefully she'll just leave. And so that's what I did. And one person said, just make sure, be careful, lock your doors and all that, because there's people out there, they'll burn your fucking house down. I'm not kidding you. That's what one of the people said. So I'm like, okay, right? So I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep at all. And so I'm sitting in this RV and I'm thinking about everything and I'm looking at everything, all this shit that I've done for her. And I realized I have been enabling her this whole time. And so I said, I thought to myself, if I care about her, then I'm going to stop enabling her. It's going to stop right now. And so since I couldn't sleep, that's what I began to do. So the yard, I had built the fence because she had her fucking dog. And she couldn't take care of her dog, so I had to help make sure to make it easy for her to take care of her dog because she couldn't take care of it. And it was a pit bull mastiff. Pit bull mastiffs require a lot, and she couldn't handle it. And I knew all. So anyways, so I went outside and I took all the fence down that I built. I took everything down. Like, I have the yard. Our yard was like really nice. I had it all set up really nice with shade net and lights and you know, chairs outside, and I took everything down. Every fucking thing. Because I built it all. It was all my shit. I built it all. So I just took it all down. I disassembled all of it. Because I couldn't sleep anyways. And then I went inside the RV and did the same thing. Because I had turned her RV from a Breaking Bad fucking crack house RV into a really nice place to live, where it was homey and it was comfortable and it wasn't just some crack house meth fucking lab of an RV. So I went in and I took everything that I did down without damaging any of her property. Because I know how all this works. I know how the fucking game works. So I was meticulously careful to not damage any of her property at all. And by the time I had taken down everything that I had done, it was like Crackville. It was like meth lab city where I saved her life from, that I pulled her out of 3 years earlier. See, her thought was that she was going to be able to keep everything like it was and drive me out and then move whoever the fuck it is in, right? Move her back doorman or whoever the fuck it is in. I don't know. And so I just no problem. I can't sleep anyways. And I wasn't spiteful or resentful when I did it either. Because if I was, I would have been damaging her property as well. So I was very, very meticulous and very careful and thoughtful in everything that I did. And I had taken it all down. Everything was down. And all it was her meth lab RV was left, right? And so then this guy comes over. He called me and he's talking to me. And I'm telling him what just happened. And so he asked if he wants me to come over. I said, yeah, sure, come over if you want, you know. And it's like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning or something. So he comes over. when he shows up, he's joking around. He's like, wow, I really like what you did with the place. Because everything was fucking down. Like everything, because my yard was badass. It was a fucking very nice yard. Everything was nice. And it was all fucking gone. You know? And so when he walked in, he's like, yeah, I love what you did with the place, and laughed at us. Anyways, so we start talking. Now this is where the story starts to go weird. Where, you know, when you had referenced, like, you know, having an overactive imagination and shit, this is where you're gonna start to hear some of this stuff and go, okay, you know. And it's understandable. Nonetheless, this is part of the story. So the guy comes over, and I was friendly acquaintances with him, but I didn't know him, you know. And he's somewhat questionable, but not enough for me to see any major red flags at the time. And so we're talking, and I just explained some of this stuff like I did in this video, the last video, 20 minutes. So I'm telling him, like, kind of this stuff that happened. And the whole time, like, I'm explaining it to him about what happened when I first got to the RV, he's like got this crazy look on his face. Like he's almost like he's watching a movie in another direction, and he's just like, and then he looks at me and he goes, and this is before I even got to the point where the witchcraft brooms were hanging in these conspicuous places and he looked at me and he goes, have you sensed like any kind of like presence or any kind of like weird shit, like spells, any kind of shit like this, ghosts or anything like that? And then I tripped out. I was like, well, it's funny you mentioned that, because when I got into the fucking RV, and so then I explained him the whole story about the bowl screeching really loud, and it had been empty and bone dry and it looked like nobody'd been there, and there was fucking witchcraft brooms hanging, fucking spell casting witch brooms hanging around and stuff. And I was like, yeah, dude, like it was like, yeah, that's what it's like. She's fucking a witch or something. And so then he's like engaged in this. He's like, well, okay. And the first thing he asked is, what did you do with the brooms? And I said, well, I fucking burned them. I took them over to the burn barrel and I fucking burned them. And he's like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I mean, you know. And so I'm like, what? So wait, so why you asked me this? And then that's when he started talking about how he has had some experience with these types of situations with witches and stuff like this, and that he kind of has some intuition on some of this stuff, right? And so I was already like, there is no explanation for any of this. She's not telling me nothing, and so I had it in a sense. There was a sense of desperation with me. So I was like, well, dude, if you have some experience in this stuff, can you just like walk through the trailer or the RV and just see if you sense anything weird or see anything weird? And so he's like, yeah. So he went inside and he asked me to show him where these witch brooms were hanging. And so I showed him there was one here and there was one here. And he's like, okay. And he's like looking around and stuff, and you know, and he goes, and he said, so he's like, so where was the third broom at? And I said, there wasn't three. There was only two. There was one hanging here and then one hanging there. And he's like, okay. And then he starts looking around some more and kind of like doing his little intuition thing, right? And then he said, okay. And then he goes, okay, so the three brooms, he starts talking about, and he's referenced the three brooms again. And I stopped him. I said, bro, there was only two. There wasn't three. There was only two. You keep bringing up three. There was only two. He's like, oh, okay, my bad. Sorry. And then I thought about it, and I said, well, if you have kind of intuition on this stuff, maybe your intuition is telling you there's a third one in here somewhere or something. And he goes, well, yeah, that might be possible. And so then we started looking for a third broom. And then he told me, look under the bed. And so I looked under the bed, and there was nothing, and you know, looking around. And so, and then, okay, so then after that, then we went back outside and started talking. And then he was telling me that he believes that she has been involved with like a witch cult. Now there is a lot of rumor in this small town here, in this desert town, of a witch cult, and I believe it at this point. That's true. I mean, a witch cult is one thing. Like, who cares? Just some people, some like hippie trippy weirdo people that believe in that stuff. Who cares? But it goes beyond that. It's like, no, they're like malicious witches that are trying to, curse people and like crazy shit. Not just some hippies that are, oh man, I'm all into Wiccan and stuff. No, I mean like real witches, like people that are really devoted to evil and Satanism, like that type of witch cult. And so what he was telling me is he believes that she's involved with that stuff, and that also and he told me that he believes that dark entities have been attacking me through her. And the revelation I had when he mentioned that, because and I admitted, I said, look, first thing, bro, I'm not really the type of person to really entertain this shit about dark entities and all this stuff. But then I told him, I said, but if I ever met anyone in my life ever that could potentially have dark entities work through them and this kind of thing, it would be her, because she is the most easily manipulated, like totally gullible, naive person I have ever met in my life. Like, if anybody could get possessed by a demon, it would be fucking her, right? And so then he was like telling me that, yeah, that he's, based off of his intuition, and that he's had experience with clairvoyancy and shit like this. And so I'm like, all right, this is fucking weird. And even though it is weird, there are some dots that are connecting here. So, so I'll keep an open mind about this stuff.